This sumo wrestler had thrown open a challenge. Anyone who is able to push him beyond this line would get a grand prize. And guess who comes forward to challenge him? Yes, the small boy. And so, the small boy uses all his might to push the sumo wrestler. But he is not even able to move the sumo wrestler a tiny bit. Now, seeing this, a few of his friends come to the arena and they start pushing the sumo wrestler. And guess what? With all their might together, they're able to move the sumo wrestler a little bit. So what happened here? Why was it that the boy alone was not able to push the sumo wrestler, whereas a group of boys together, they were able to move the sumo wrestler a little bit? We have studied that when forces act in the same direction, their magnitudes add up. And hence, when the group of boys were pushing together, the magnitude of that force was greater than the magnitude of the force when the boy was pushing alone. Recall from Newton's first law that force is required to change the state of motion of an object. We had seen that to make a moving body stop, you need to apply force, and to make a resting body move, you need to apply force. But any force is not enough. Even when the boy was pushing alone, he was applying some force on the sumo wrestler. But he was not able to change the state of motion of the sumo wrestler. So, the change in state of motion is directly proportional to the magnitude of the force applied. It just doesn't depend on any force, it depends on the magnitude of the force. Higher the force, greater would be the change in state of motion. Now, what exactly is the change in state of motion? Well, we've seen we could make a moving object stop, or we could make a resting object move. That is, we could change the velocity of an object. If the object is at rest, its velocity is 0. To make it move, we need to give it some velocity. If the object is in motion, it has some velocity. To make it stop, we need to make it velocity 0. Hence, change in state of motion implies change in velocity. And if change in state of motion is directly proportional to force, the change in velocity would also be directly proportional to force. Further, momentum is equal to mass into velocity. So any change in velocity would change the momentum as well. Therefore, change in velocity would imply change in momentum. And if change in velocity is proportional to force, then change in momentum would also be proportional to force. So we have change in momentum is directly proportional to force. Further, observe that when the boys were pushing the sumo wrestler in this direction, the sumo wrestler moved in this direction. Therefore, the direction of motion is in line with the direction of force. Now, these boys don't give up. They keep pushing the sumo wrestler continuously. And with that continuous effort, they are able to move the sumo wrestler beyond the line. So, we saw that change in momentum is directly proportional to the time for which the force is applied. If the force is applied for a greater time, the change in momentum is greater. Hence, we get change in momentum is directly proportional to force, and change in momentum is directly proportional to time. We could combine these two to get change in momentum is directly proportional to force into time. Now, let us bring this time on this side. So we get change in momentum by time is directly proportional to force. So force is directly proportional to change in momentum by time for which the force is applied, that is change in momentum per unit time, or rate of change in momentum. So force is directly proportional to rate of change in momentum, and this is what is stated in Newton's second law of motion. In his second law of motion, Newton states that the rate of change of momentum of an object is directly proportional to the applied force, and the change takes place in the direction of the force. Now, let us try to quantify this law. We know that force is directly proportional to change in momentum by time for which the force is applied, that is rate of change in momentum. Now, let us take an object of mass m and let us apply a force continuously for time t on that object. So we need to find force. We know time is equal to t, so we need to find change in momentum. Now, because of the force applied on the object, its initial velocity changes from u to v. That is, its velocity is initially u and its final velocity is v. We need change in momentum. Now, momentum is equal to mass into velocity. Therefore, initial momentum is equal to mass into initial velocity, which is mu, and final momentum is equal to mass into final velocity, which is mv. Therefore, change in momentum is equal to final momentum minus initial momentum, which is equal to m v minus mu. Now, m is common over here, so we get m v minus u. Notice that m is constant here. The mass of the object is constant, only its velocity is changing. So we've got change in momentum as m into v minus u. Now let us replace this in this. So what we get is force is directly proportional to m into v minus u divided by t. Now what is this? V minus u divided by t. This is change in velocity by unit time, that is rate of change in velocity, which is acceleration. So this is equal to m into a, and a is acceleration. So we get force is directly proportional to mass into acceleration. Or we could write force is equal to k into ma, where k is the constant of proportionality. Now, a unit of force is defined in such a manner that k is equal to 1, and therefore we get force is equal to mass into acceleration. So how exactly is this unit of force defined? Well, one unit of force is the amount of force that produces an acceleration of 1 meter per second square in an object of mass 1 kg. That is, if we have an object of mass 1 kg which is initially at rest, now if no force is applied to it, its acceleration would be 0. Now suppose we start applying a unit force onto that object. That is, force is equal to 1 unit. And we continuously apply that force onto that object. In such a case, its acceleration would be 1 meter per second square. That is, the velocity of this object would change by 1 meter per second in every second. Now, what is the SI unit of force? Well, force is equal to mass into acceleration. Now, SI unit of mass is kg. The SI unit of acceleration is meter per second square. Therefore, the unit of force would be kg into acceleration is meter per second square. That is kg meter per second square. And this kg meter per second square has a special name in physics. This kg meter per second square is given as Newton, after Sir Isaac Newton, who has contributed immensely in this field. So the unit of force is kg meter per second square and is more commonly known as Newton. So Newton's second law of motion states that the rate of change of momentum of an object is directly proportional to the applied force, and the change takes place in the direction of the force. And to quantify this, we get force is equal to mass into acceleration.